Coe. I mean, David Allen's a mess. I mean,
he was a mess, but he was still a great songwriter.
He's a really great songwriter. And again, he's one of those that's all over the place. I mean, now some of his stuff I don't agree with, I mean, he did some dirty stuff, and I don't agree with a lot of that, But now I listened to it just like everybody else did, that heard it. I was like, that's a great song. Lay me down some rails. I didn't even know what the hell he was talking about when I first heard that. I'm like, hey, I know what he's talking about. And I'm like, well, maybe that's not so family friendly,
Well, somebody told him you can't do that, and that's where it's their fault. They should not have told David Allan Coe you can't do that.
Never tell him. I actually met David Allan Coe once. Me and some friends of mine.
He's a big guy, ain't he?
Went
Tall.
to see him. He's a big, lurking fella who just kind of looks through your soul.
Yeah. Especially now.
He's a biker, man. He's really cool, man. I mean, he's one of those. I don't take any stuff from you, and I don't have time for any stuff. So let's get to the point and let's get from A to B here. And he was nice enough, cordial. Let's just say cordial.
Would you meet him in Little Rock?
Well, we didn't. Memphis. We didn't have tickets to a concert, and I'd followed his bass player like a stalker down Beale Street in Memphis. Well, I only knew that it was David Allan Coe's bass player because he was wearing all leather with pink cowboy boots. And I'm thinking, this guy's got to play in David Allan Coe's band. And we had traveled from Little Rock to Memphis to see David Allan, and it was sold out. And we were like, well, which at the time I was like, well, it's not a big deal. I know a guy named John Kilzer whose band is playing at the Hard Rock Cafe, which had just opened there at the time. So we slid in there and for a minute or two and caught his band. And then when we left there, that's when I caught the guy walking down the street with the pink cowboy boots. I said, this has got to be our ticket. I went and talked to him. I was like, hey, I know you play in David Allan Coe's band. We came all the way from Little Rock, and we don't have tickets to get in here. They wouldn't let us in, man. Tell me you're in the band. He just looked at me and shook his head. He just kind of put his head down like this happens all the time.
Like, damn it.
Well, I mean, tattoos, leather, pink cowboy boots. I mean, and he said, yes, I play bass with David Allan Coe. And when he said I played bass for David Allan Coe, I thought he meant he played bass, like a bass guitar. He actually played one of those big stand-up, slap, whatever the hell things.
Because David had to have one of them in his band.
He didn't have a drummer on stage. I mean, I'm assuming this thing took up so much space on the stage. But anyways, he says, yeah, I'm the bass player for David Allan Coe. And he said, man, just hang out with me and I'll get you in. And
so the concert hadn't started yet?
No, we didn't miss it. No, this was way before the show. We got there really early, and it was already sold out. It was like 2 hours before the show.
Was it at the Pyramid?
No, it was at the New Daisy Theater.
Okay.
This was a lot of years ago.
Yeah.
Recommended for Airplay, which was David Allan Coe's record that he had put out, I think, in maybe early 2000, maybe the late 90s, something like that. But it's one of the last records that I've actually heard from him. Well, he says, the bass player guy, when we followed him around Beale Street, caught him, and he said yes, and yes, he's the bass player. He said hang out with him. Now, when he meant hang out with him for a little bit, we went in some bars with this guy, followed him in like 4 or 5 clubs along Beale Street there, which we had to pay to get in all these places. He just kept walking in with his pass, and we'd have to pay a cover charge to get in after 3 or 4 of these places. And then we walked into a gift shop, and this guy wanted an Elvis toilet seat. There was an Elvis Presley toilet seat. Now, I don't particularly want to sit on the king when I'm going to the can, but this guy really had to have this toilet seat. And he didn't have any money, so he told the guy, he said, hey, man, look, I'm playing in this. And the guy didn't speak English that ran the shop there. He just took the guy, he grabbed him by the collar, David Allen's bass player, grabbed this guy by the collar and led him to the front door and pointed at the New Daisy Theater, which was just right down the road there. He said, I'm playing right there. I playing here. And he just kind of gave him a little, here, I played guitar. Save this. And he said, save. And then the guy just shook his head and took the commode seat and he put it behind the counter.
Like somebody was going to rush in to get that.
Yeah. Well, anyways, but see, I think by the time they got out, the shops would be closed. Now some of the bars would still be open.
Right.
But anyways, he didn't want to miss this Elvis toilet seat. And, well, anyways, we walk right in. We go to the New Daisy after this deal. We go in, walk right in, past the whole crowd, walk in. The back door opens up, and there's David Allan Coe standing right in my face. And he looks at the bass player and he says, "Motherfucker, you're late." And I'm like, oh, my God. David Allan Coe's fixing to cut this guy right here in front of me. And then David Allan Coe looks at me and he looks at the other guys and he says, who the fuck are these guys? Really serious, like, hey, who are these? These guys are not supposed to be here. And then he turns around, he shakes my hand, hugs my neck, and he says, hey, man, I'm glad you guys could make it tonight. And he says, I got you a place. He showed him. He came out on the stage, brought us on the damn stage right there, the side of the stage. He said, you see those seats right there in front? That's where you guys are going to sit. We went right down front, sat right in front.
You tickled to death that place was sold out when you got there, ain't you? Because had it not been sold out.
Well, had it not been sold out, that wouldn't have happened. We would have had shit seats.
That's what I mean.
Never went through any of that. So you never know. I mean, I guess you never know. I guess it just goes to show you never know.
Well, that you didn't worry about going up and talking to him, because that's a hell of a story.
Well,
you hadn't have gone if you'd have been like, oh, no, he ain't got time for us.
We'd went all the way to Memphis, and we had been drinking a little bit, so I had a little liquid courage in me. So I was like, all right, look.
He's a human being just like me.
Yeah, I was like, man, the guys, I got to go ask him, And, the other guys weren't going to do it.
So what happened after the show?
You remember the Platinum Plus?
I've heard of it.
We'll just stop there and say that. Those were different times.
Not with David Allan Coe.
No. Okay. David Allan didn't. Actually, we didn't have any other contact with them afterwards. As a matter of fact, once he showed us our seats, we were like, hey, thanks, man. And he just shook our hand and said, hey, man, we're late. Enjoy the show. And then we never seen him again or anybody again. As a matter of fact, he dedicated a song to us. I can't remember what song it was at the time.